This is another application of the Cameo project, Cameo being camera input output. And the idea behind Cameo is to make tactile materials interactive. And here on the screen we have a picture of the Braille Doodle. So the Braille Doodle is a commercial tactile device. It's affordable, it's only $150. It has an array of pins, and you can manually move the pins up and down, and you can create tactile graphics with these. And so the idea is that tactile maps are very valuable for orienting yourself to some location or some neighborhood. It's hard to find tactile maps very often when you need them. And so our concept is that if a school or a home can afford a Braille Doodle, or maybe one for each student, they're fairly inexpensive, then it would be possible to render simple maps, not detailed maps, but simple maps on the Braille Doodle with these pins. So if you're, for instance, a blind student and you want to learn about a neighborhood, perhaps your teacher, the visually impaired, or maybe your parent, could actually render a map for you. And here we have a map of downtown San Francisco, and this major street on the diagonal is Market Street. And the idea is that even without any Cameo functionality, in other words, even without anything beyond the Braille Doodle, you can explore the map and figure out what are the main streets and what is the overall layout of this map. But of course, that is not a lot on its own. If this were let's say a paper printed and embossed tactile map, you might have the benefit of Braille abbreviations to label every street. There's no space for individual Braille abbreviations on a map that's low resolution like the Braille Doodle. But with Cameo, what we can do is have the user explore the map and point to a location of interest, like a street, and have the street name read aloud. And so in that way, the person can explore and get all sorts of information about what they're exploring. And again, a paper tactile map would probably be preferable in terms of the amount of information that it can contain, but it's very, very hard to get your hands on just the right tactile map when you need one in many cases. So the idea here again is with the Braille Doodle, someone could render this content for a student, and the student can then explore it and get information about it. So the idea of this project is to provide on-demand access to tactile maps. And I should say, first of all, there's beautiful work being done on devices that are commercially available now, refreshable tactile displays that have many thousands of pins that can be controlled and move dynamically. You could even, witness like a cursor moving up and down, just like a cursor is blinking in a visual display. These are wonderful. They're very expensive. These are displays that typically cost $10,000. And so we're trying to figure out how to create on-demand access to tactile graphics, and especially tactile maps, for a lot less money. And so the idea is that, again, this Braille Doodle is around $150. If a student who's blind wants access to a map, they could ask their teacher, the visually impaired, to render the map. And depending on the complexity of the map, that might take 20 or so minutes, maybe faster if it's a simpler map. And Cameo can be used, camera input output, to make that map more accessible by adding audio labels. In this case right now it's running on a laptop. It could also run simply on like an iPhone or an Android phone. And all you really need to run Cameo is a camera and maybe something like a tripod or some kind of mounting to hold the camera in one place. So it's a very inexpensive system. And that's the approach we're trying to take to make tactile graphics, and especially tactile maps, more readily accessible.